interviews, job and journalists, classroom, classes and lectures, rituals, church and prayers, weddings, casual conversation, friends, family, and search. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Okay, so over 7,000 beautiful and diverse language is spoken in the world today with English being first with total of 1.452 billion. Elements of spoken language. The first one is adjacent pairs. Refers to a pair of connected utterances or statements in a conversation. The second statement is often a response to the first one. For example, is person A, how are you? Person B, I'm doing well. Thank you. So adjacency pair is a two-type exchange in which the second utterance is functionally dependent on the first one. So, for example is have a good day and then you too, gano'n, and then yung pag-I love you mo sa jowa na dito. Diba? I love you to ang response. Parang, ito is any exchange of utterances that is cohesive to each other. Second is back channels. Verbal and non-verbal cues used by listeners to show attentiveness and engagement in a conversation. This includes simple responses like yeah, or noting to indicate understanding or agreement while someone is speaking. So basically, back channels are use any noise, gestures, or expression to show, used by listeners to show that he or she is paying attention to the speaker, like even just by simply nodding, yeah, yung pag-agree nyo to show that you are listening. Third one is lexis. Refers to words or phrases that require contextual information to understand their meaning. They depend on the speaker's location, the time of the conversation, or the people involved. For example, is this, that, and tomorrow. Their meaning changes based on what they are referencing in the immediate context. So, lexis is just words to add details in a certain utterances. Fourth is elision. The omission or deletion of sounds or syllables in words during speech. It helps the speaker to speak more fluently and efficiently. For example, I'm instead of I am, and can instead of cannot. So, ano na ata to? The elision is shorten the utterances to make it easier and faster way to say, but still in a more comprehensible language. Fifth is hedge. Hedge are words or phrases used to soften or weaken the impact of statement, making it less direct or absolute. They allow for more flexibility in communication. For example, maybe, kind of, sort of, passively, I think, and it seems like. So hedge allows the speaker to convey uncertainty or to make listeners understand that the information they're giving is hindi 100% sure or not precise. Like sa Tagalog naman sa atin is baka, yung mga words or yun, baka, raw, siguro. 6 is non-fluency features. Characteristics in speech that indicate hesitation, uncertainty, or disfluency in a person's speaking. They can include pauses, repetitions, fillers like, and false starts, or starting a sentence and then correcting oneself. So non-fluency occurs when people are not quite certain on what they want to say or they make mistakes. So mas common siya sa spoken language is sa written is, you can plan, you can formulate your thoughts prior to writing, wherein sa spoken is hindi, kasi ang weird naman, di ba, kung tinanong ka ng kaklase mo tapos bigla mong sabihin, wait, i-formulate ko lang yung thoughts ko, and then 1 minute siya ka lang sasagot. So, yun, yung basis is choose. And then, prosodic features refers to variations in pitch, volume, rhythm, and stress in speech. These features help convey meaning, emotions, and emphasis in a conversation. For example, a rise in pitch at the end of sentence to indicate a question, a change in volume or stress to emphasize certain words or phrases. So, prosodic features are intonations like pitch, volume, rhythm, stress. So, they help give emphasis to utterances. Like for example, kapag magtatanong ka is, di ba pataas, parang high pitch ka gawin. Vague language. Used when we want to be less specific or provide precise information. It can include words or phrases like things, stuff, a lot, you know, and whatever. It allows for flexibility or when someone is unsure or doesn't want to go into detail. For example, I have some things to do tomorrow. There's this stuff I need to take care of. Vague language, yung kapag ayaw mong magsabi pa ng more details, yung parang, uy, confidential, gano'n. Basta, basta.
Advantages of spoken language. Immediate feedback and clarification enhance understanding. This means that the use of spoken language has advantage because it allows immediate feedback and clarification and engage the understanding between the individual involved in the conversation. So example na is ako. So nag-explain ako kung may question kayo, pwede kayong mag-question ngayon at sasagutin ko para ma-clarify ka. Next, non-verbal cues and gestures add that to the communication. So non-verbal cues, dito yung gestures, body language, facial expression, tsaka tone of voice. So, example dito is tinanong mo yung kaklase mo kung kamusta siya, tapos sabi niya, I'm fine. Yung I'm fine niya is pwedeng magkaroon ng ibang meaning depende sa facial expression niya. Facial expression niya, kung sinabi niya yung I'm fine na naka-smile siya, tsaka may enthusiast siya, yung meaning lang sinabi niya is totoong okay lang siya. Pero kapag sinabi niya yung I'm fine na aglalanay or malungkot yung mukha niya, hindi siya talaga okay. So, yung sagot niya is nakarelay dun sa non-verbal cues niya. So, fluidity and adaptability in the conversation. So, fluidity means that we can quickly adapt our language and tone and style to better suit the situation to ensure effective communication. For example, si ma'am nagbigay ng activity, tapos yung instruction niya, naintindihan ni Kiana, pero ni Ate Hazelmate hindi niya naintindihan. Pwedeng si Kiana ang mag-explain ng instruction para mas maintindihan ni Ate Hazel or i-simplify na para mas madali maintindihan ni Ate Hazel. Yes. Limitations of spoken language. Lack of permanence makes spoken language prone to memory lapses and misinterpretation. So, this lack of permanence means that our memory of the words we say can fade over time, leading to memory lapse or forgetting important details. Sabi ko kanina, parang sa sinabi ko kanina, spoken language is nakalagay sa non-verbal cues, sa facial expression, sa body language, or sa tone of voice. So, tapos, kunyari, this can make it easy for us to misinterpret or forget the intended meaning of the conversation. And because the spoken language is passed from person to person orally, there can be errors in transmission or leading to misunderstanding. So kunyari si ma'am hindi niya tayo minute ngayon, nagbigay siya ng activity, tapos hindi niya tayo minute, tapos si Marian tinanong niya kung anong gagawin natin, tapos nagbigay si ma'am ng activities, tapos yung instruction sinabi lang niya kay Marian. after niya masabi yung instruction kay Marian, bumili si Marian ng pagkain. Tapos, after niya bumalik, nakalimutan niya yung kumpletong instruction ni ma'am. Tapos, nung sinabi niya sa atin, kulang yung instruction niya, kaya pwedeng mag-cause yun na hindi natin magagawa ng maayos yung or hindi natin masusunod ng tama yung instruction ni ma'am kasi iba na yung sinabi ni Marian. Informality can lead to misunderstanding and confusion. So, example dito is sa workplace, kunyari yung boss nila nag-gather ng meeting para pag-usapan nila yung isang call support project, tapos nahihirapan sila, tapos biglang nag-joke yung isang member nila. Tapos sabi niya, "Bay, ano daytan ka, malpastulat ka," tapos yung informality niya is yung joke niya, hindi tinake ng kasama niya as a joke out, sineryoso niya yun. So, after, nag-lead yun ng misunderstanding at pwede silang mag-sinong basket na accident. So, yung joke na yun is nag-lead ng misunderstanding. So, next, limited accessibility for individuals with hearing impairments.
So written language is a form of communication that involves the use of visual symbols or characteristics to convey meaning. These symbols representing the sound or concept that are organized into a system following specific rules of grammar, punctuation, and syntax to form words, phrases, and text.
Mag-quiz na kayo.
The rise of literacy in the industrialized West. 15th century invention of printing press. Materials could be printed relatively quickly. More reading materials became available to the population and more cheaply, and the written word took over some of the punctuation previously carried in the oral note. Dito mas na-invento nila yung printing press and mas naging marano yung written language. Example of written language is Chinese, Spanish, and Arabic. First written language is the Sumerian. Sumerian scholars generally agreed that the earliest form of writing appeared almost 5,500 years ago in Mesopotamia, present-day Iraq. There are characteristics of written language. Written language is more formal. Formal nature of written language is due to the fact that it can be planned and edited before being presented to an audience. Written and spoken language. Formal nature of written language is due to the fact that it can be planned, edited before being the fact it can be planned and edited before being presented to an audience. Written language allows for more careful selection of words and construction of grammatically correct sentences. This formality makes written language suitable for professional and academic contexts where precision and clarity are crucial. Written language is standardized. You'll note that written language is typically subject to a set of convention and rules which provide consistency and facilitate comprehension among readers. These conventions include grammar, spelling, punctuation, and formatting. The standardization of written language ensures that written text can be understood by a wide audience and across different contexts. However, it is important to note that variance in written language may also exist due to different writing styles, registers, and genres. Written language is permanent. You'll explain that the written language has the advantage of being more permanent and enduring compared to the spoken language. Written text can be recorded, saved, and accessed at any time, enabling information to be stored and transmitted across time and space. This permanence is particularly valuable for archival purposes, academic research, and dissemination of knowledge. In contrast, spoken language is transient and can only be experienced in the moment unless it is recorded and or transcribed.
Advantages of written language. Clarity of expression due to revised and edited content. So, when we write, we have the opportunity to review, modify, and refine our words until we have conveyed our thoughts and ideas as clear as possible. During this process, we can identify and confusing or unclear sentences, replace ambiguous words or phrases, and correct any spelling or grammatical errors. So, kapag nagsusulat tayo, meron tayong pwede nating ayusin yung mga dapat ayusin para mas convey natin yung dapat natin i-convey sa sinusulat natin. So, extensive preservation and accessibility of information. So, written language allows storing of information in more durable and permanent form. This makes it possible to preserve knowledge, ideas, historical events, and other information for future generations. So, kunyari sa bahay nyo, nung nag-aaral si mama mo, binilhan siya ng mama niya ng libro para sa pag-aaral niya. So, nung tinago ni mama mo or ng mama niya, yung mga librong binili nila para magamit mo. Tapos nagagamit mo ngayon. So, yung librong yon, pag tinago mo or in-store mo, pwedeng gamitin pa ng kapatid mo or ng ng iba. So, next, broadens the reach and impact of communication to distant readers and future generation. For example, dito is an author write a novel or a book about significant or historical event. After i-publish ng author yung book, kahit nasan ka man, magkakaroon ka ng access or pwede kang magkaroon ng access pag bumili ka ng libro, malalaman mo yung laman ng book or kapag nag-download ka sa social media or hinanap mo yung book, pwede kang magkaroon ng access to it. Limitation of written language. Lack of interactive exchange limit the immediate clarification of ideas. So, sa spoken language, gaya ng sinabi ko kanina, kapag, kunyari ako nagsasalita dito, tapos kapag may question kayo, pwede kayong mag-question at masasagot ko agad-agad. Pero sa written language, kailangan mong, kunyari nag-send ka ng email, tapos may question ka, kailangan mong mag-antay para masagot yung question mo or yun. Kailangan mong mag-antay. Hindi kaya ng spoken language na kapag tinanong mo, makukuha mo agad yung sagot na inaantay mo. Requires strong reading and writing skill for comprehension. Example dito is kapag kunyari si ma'am may pinabasa siyang article sa atin, tapos hindi ako marunong magbasa or hindi ako marunong magbasa, hindi ko magagawa or mababasa or maiintindihan yung pinapabasa ni ma'am kasi hindi nga ako marunong magbasa. So, kailangan marunong ka magbasa para maintindihan mo. Or sa writing skills naman is, kunyari nagpagawa si ma'am ng essay, hindi ka marunong mag-construct ng sentences or hindi ka marunong about sa grammar, hindi mo rin magagawa yung pinapagawa or pinapasulat. Potential misinterpretation due to absence of non-verbal cues. So, gaya nga ng sinabi ko ulit kanina sa spoken language, spoken language ay kailangan yung non-verbal cues is merong big impact para mag-convey mo yung gusto mong sabihin kasi nandun yung facial expression, yung body language, yung tone of voice. So, mas madali mong maiintindihan yung gustong sabihin na hindi mo nasa written language hindi mo makikita.
Difference between spoken and written language. Number one is skills. Skills means the ability to do something. Spoken language involves speaking and listening skills, and written language involves reading and writing skills. So, example po nito is, kumbaga kami na nagre-report dito is yung speaking, nag-speak kami, and listening is kayo naman na nag-listen sa mga reporters. And written language involves reading and writing skills. And example po is kapag meron po tayong binabasa or nagbabasa po tayo, and then sinusulat natin kung ano yung napupulot na aral sa binabasa natin. And then number two na difference is age. Spoken language, age means the length of time that a person has lived or a thing has existed. Spoken language is older than written language. Written language is not as old as the spoken language. So, sa spoken language is, kumbaga, mas older siya kaysa sa written language, while written language is hindi siya older like the spoken language. And number three is components. Components means a part or element of a larger whole. Spoken language can use tone, pitch, volume, and etc. And while written language can use heading, punctuation, layout, and etc. So, example po nito is sa mga kumakanta na meron silang kanya-kanyang tone or pitch or volume ng kanilang voice. Kumbaga, mayroong mataas, may mababa, ganon, and mabagal siya, mabilis, ganon. While written language can use heading, punctuation, and layouts. Example po nito is kapag gumagawa po tayo ng reports or mga example na lang nito is sa mga reports natin na kailangan natin gumawa ng yung letter na lang mas madali na kailangan may heading siya and may mga punctuation, may mga layouts na gagawin natin bago natin i-formal na gawin yung letters natin. And then number 4 is records. Records means the sum of the past achievement or action of a person or organization. Spoken language is temporary since there are no records, while written language is permanent since there are records. So, in spoken, temporary lang siya. Temporary lang, kumbaga, pwede siyang tanggalin, ganon, and while the written is permanent na siya. Kumbaga, kapag sinulat na natin, is hindi na pwedeng burahin, na, kumbaga, hindi yung may ginagamit na tayo ngayon na correction tape. So, sa written, permanent na siya, hindi na natin siya pwedeng gamitan ng correction tape, while doon sa spoken is pwede nating, temporary lang siya, so pwede natin siyang gamitan ng correction tape.
Pwede niyo siyang itama.
Pwede siyang itama, kumbaga, kung mali yung naisulat or kung mali yung nasabi, pwede natin siyang itama. Sa spoken language. Pero sa written is hindi na, permanent na siya. So, spoken versus written language. Spoken. So, spoken is use of personal pronouns. Example ba ng mga personal pronouns is yung I, he, she, us, they, and yun, marami. Pwede natin siyang gamitin sa spoken. While sa written naman is infrequent use of personal pronouns. So, kumbaga sa meaning ng infrequent is not occurring. Hindi siya gagamitan ng personal pronouns. Shorter thoughts, units that are easy to follow. So, more complicated sentence structures. Yun. Next is greater repetition of words and phrases to emphasize ideas. Greater means yung more than. Mas marami siyang repetition of words, mas marami siyang repetition ng phrases to emphasize the ideas. While sa written is repetition of ideas through precise and varied language. So precise means is the exactness or yung eksakto na pag-repeat ng ideas through precise and varied language. Varied means is the showing variety or showing of variation of language. Colloquial words and contractions create a lively conversational tone. So colloquial means is used in ordinary or familiar conversation. So kumbaga sa spoken ginagamitan natin siya ng yung mga familiar words na hindi na kailangan nating paligoy-ligoy tayo pa lang, but ginagamit na natin siya ng familiarity na words. While dito naman sa written is formal tone and infrequent use of colloquialism. Next is familiar words used to ensure audience understanding. So ensure means is providing something. So dito naman is familiar words used to ensure. Kumbaga, yung mga familiar words na ginagamit natin in spoken is to ensure or providing something na i-provide something sa audience na maiintindihan nila kung ano yung sinasabi natin through spoken. And rich and precise vocabulary use regardless of audience. Fewer references to previously stated information as mentioned above. Then may refer to previously stated information as in the former.
So, lexical density as a measure of difference between speech and writing. This term refers to a way of studying and analyzing spoken and written text to identify how each takes up different features of the grammar of a language. Yun nga, difference between speech and writing. May pagkakaiba sila sa speech and writing. Lexical items. Lexical items are the words carry the content of the text. They are the words found in dictionaries that can be easily defined. They belong to an open set of language items. Lexical can be generally understood to convey a single meaning. This means that language change and absorb new words for new technology, new ideas, or new objects. Lexical items represent this expansion of the culture are added to the language. Grammatical items belong to a closed system in the language. This means that we do not add or keep inventing the preposition, articles, and conjunction, etc. of English. So
what part of speech belong to the lexical item and what part of speech belong to grammatical item? So we have 8, harder, how many parts of speech do we have? 8. Alin doon ang content words, alin doon ang function words. Ganun dyan, grammatical items include your pronouns, conjunctions, prepositions, some of the adverbs. How about your content words? Ang content words ay inyong mga nouns, pronouns, some of your verbs. Dapat alam nyo yung distinction ng dalawa. Pag sinabing content words, do not be confused. Kapag sinabing lexical, tawag natin doon content words. Pag sinabing grammatical, function words yun. Ano ang function niya sa sentence kapag ginamit mo siya?
Includes articles,
Articles A and the.
pronouns he, she, you, or me, preposition behind, in, under, conjunction, and, nor, but. Some adverbs usually or often, and finite verbs use have, was, or as in I have eaten, was running, etc.
But there are some verbs and adverbs that also belong to the lexical item or content words. Okay, sige, makinig nyo.
Ma'am, nag-video po kami sa unang